Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. But guys, I am so excited about tonight. We have another amazing show for you guys. Now, I ask you if you would please share this episode out. Invite other people to watch it. Don't forget to give us all kinds of hearts, likes, frowny faces, cry faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us. I don't care. Just help us trick the algorithm on Facebook. And don't forget to keep those comments coming. If you have a big takeaway or you are feeling something that he says or I say, let us know in the comments. We would appreciate that very much. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Guy. Hey,
Hello.
Guy, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I am phenomenal. If I'd be any better, I'd be you.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you would like to tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, I'm going to be inviting a few people so they can watch with us.
Sounds good. So my name is Guy Siverson. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I've been a licensed massage therapist together with my wife, who we went to school together. We took the NBLEX together. We graduated together, and now we have been in practice for 5 years in November. Together here in Rapid City, South Dakota, where we provide have our own clinic called Graceful Touch.
That sounds pretty darn awesome. And first of all, I want to tell you thank you for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my people.
You're
So
welcome.
I definitely just wanted to extend the gratitude for you showing up.
Absolutely, no problem.
So, Guy, you were telling me about how you overcame extreme poverty during a really rocky time in your life. Can you explain a little bit of that to us?
Sure. So my previous career basically ended up crumbling, and we actually joined a ministry up in St. Mary's, Idaho, and basically there you get 6 feet of snow in the winter, and it gets down to like -20.
Wow.
Well, the reason I tell you that is because our home was a teepee.
A teepee?
A teepee. That's what we lived in for about 2 years,
Wow.
and it was a fun experience and whatnot. But quite honestly, we were broke and had been broke for quite some time. They at one point decided it was time for us to leave, and so they said, "Well, April or May, we would like you to go ahead and find a new place to live." Well, you don't find a whole lot of places to live without any money,
Yeah.
and so we were wondering, well, what are we going to do? And we prayed, and the my wife had been told many, many times throughout the years that she would make a good massage therapist. The only problem with her being a massage therapist, yet another point to adversity, is she has dyslexia. She could never pass the test or the class. So she couldn't become one. So she never tried.
Wow.
Well, we decided to just knock on some doors and see what would happen. And we found with our church, there was a school that in Hermosa, South Dakota, that was doing massage. So we called them up and decided we would join them. Interestingly enough, they were having a class, never done it before, that was starting in May, the same month that we had to move. Called them up the next day and I said, "There's no way we're coming to your class. You probably need this thing called money, and we don't have any of that. So we're probably not coming. And they basically said, pray about it and just see what happens. We got a phone call from a friend. The friend said, come to dinner. Well, the idea was not for dinner, as we would soon find out. What they wanted to do was they wanted to pay for Irene's schooling. Notice how I'm always saying Irene. They wanted to pay for her schooling. And so I called up the director out at the school the next day, and I said, "Well, it looks like we are going to come for Irene's schooling." Well, he turned around and made an offer that was an incredible offer, and said, "Why don't you both come to school?" And I said, "Me? No, 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 no. You don't understand. I'm a hard science, or I'm a soft science guy, not hard science. Psychology, communication, those are my 2 degrees. I don't do hard science. Kinesiology, uh, pathology, no thank youology. I didn't want it. I don't like that path. But the deal was a really, really good deal. So we talked to our donors, and they agreed. We were going to be going to school. And that's the preliminary up to it. Do you want me to continue and kind of show where this went from there?
Yeah, if you would.
Be glad to. So we arrived on campus, and yet another part of the problem was our science teacher came up to me. And our science teacher basically said, I'm really concerned about your wife. And I said, Galen, why are you concerned about about my wife? Well, she's got dyslexia. I'm not sure she can pass my tests or my class. And I said, Galen, she's also got purpose. She's also got passion. She's also got pursuit. You won't have any trouble with my wife. But even having not been in his class yet, I then went on to say, but you do have a problem in your class. And he said, I do have a problem in my class? I said, absolutely, I can guarantee it. And his response back was, what do you mean I've got a problem in my class? And I said, well, your problem in your class happens to be me. Because unlike my wife, who's got the purpose, passion, and pursuit, I have none of that. All I have is a class that I really don't want to take, and you're going to be teaching it. I just want to wish you well on being able to get me past the test and the class. Well, I got into anatomy and I fell in love. I've never realized how amazing the human body is
Yeah.
until I took anatomy.
Yeah, it
And
definitely is.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, now we're in school and moving forward. Do you want me to? Yeah, feel free. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'd be more than glad to cover them. Any
I
questions from
I do
you?
have one question.
Yeah,
So where did your wife discover this purpose and passion for the massage?
great question. So basically, she had done massage and whatnot for free for friends and relatives and whatnot. And they said, go back to school, and we can pay you for your work. Because they always had said you do great work. And well, she hadn't because of the dyslexia.
Yeah. Do you believe that the dyslexia was something that made her strive even more, or do you think it actually held her back?
Interesting question. I would say that she pushed herself even harder. And we'll come up to that, especially when we get into the MBLEX national exam that has to be taken, um, because that really played a part there, and I can dive into that a little bit more.
All right, yeah. If you go ahead and go on with your story, because I don't want to interrupt you, but
But
I had that question.
at the same time, I like to have the dialogue. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to interrupt, and I like to answer those questions.
All right.
So now, basically, the next stage and the next step was I was about halfway through massage school, and God spoke to me, and He said, "Go look for work." Well, I kind of let Him know that people won't hire anyone that is halfway graduated in anything, let alone massage therapy. So his response was, look for work. I went out onto Indeed.com, found a company there that was looking for people to work for them, um, based on their they're getting clients to them, and they pay on a percentage. I called them up, and we hit it off real well. We had a really good conversation, and then after that conversation, he asked, "Well, where's your office?" Well, remember, number one, I'm a student. Number two, it's that word that starts with B, broke.
I'm
I'm a
pro.
broke student. I said, I don't have an office, and I don't know how things are where you live, but over here in Rapid City, South Dakota, there's not a whole lot of offices available for zero rent per
Yeah.
month. And basically, they said, well, if you don't have an office, we can't work with you. I said, send me your paperwork. I'll fill it out. And in the next 2 weeks, I'll have an office. I didn't know how I was going to do that. But I
Yeah.
was like, in the next
All
two
right.
weeks, yeah, go ahead.
Do you feel that going out on a limb or on faith there actually helped you because you jumped all in at once instead of just dipping your toes in?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there's so many steps of faith within the entire journey, that as we get going further, you'll see it's, yeah, taking the faith step really makes a difference.
That's cool. Thank you.
Sure. So, um, we it, I'm now at the point of turning to God and saying, "Look, you brought me to South Dakota, a place I would never live, doing a trade in massage therapy, a trade I would never do. I need an office in 2 weeks. I'm broke and I'm a student. Fix it."
Yeah.
Well, we went to a chair massage outing about an hour and a half away, where basically we give free chair massage. There was a lady there that was also doing beautician hair cutting things, and she talked about water. I called her the crazy water lady. She wanted to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. I wanted to talk about massage. She wanted to talk about water. I didn't want to talk about water. So I came up with an idea. I would ask her for her business card. She'd give that to me. She would think that she is one, and she'd leave me alone. It worked all the way up until I got home. I'm going through some paperwork, and God speaks to me again. He says, call her. So I give her a call, And guess what the crazy water lady wanted to talk about?
Water.
You got it. You're sharp. Yep. She wanted to talk about what I didn't want to talk about water. I wanted to talk about my anatomy class. She wanted to talk about water. Well, uh, I am now complaining to God and saying, God, why am I talking about water when I need to be studying for anatomy? Then she mentioned she had a friend that had a water store in Rapid City, South Dakota. Let's see, water store, hydration, massage, that works out really well together.
Yeah, they kind of go together.
So I decided that we would get together and meet with them, which we did. And we all hit it off really well together. And they said, well, we understand your situation as it relates to massage or to your income. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the first 6 months rent free
Wow.
unless you start doing really good. We started paying them after the first 3 months.
Wow. That's really nice of them. Now, do you think that receiving that break actually helped you get started? Because a lot of people don't receive that break. That as that lady was so kind.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, and it's been building blocks like that all the way along. But it hasn't all been breaks, though. Um, about just as we were finishing school, I came up with the idea. Wonder what would happen if we turned to our bank and see if they could give us a loan. So we called them up. Oh yeah, we have a loan here for $5,000 for you. Great, that'll get us the equipment for tables, for supplies, for business cards. It'll give us that good start. So we started to use our credit cards, knowing that that $5,000 would soon come in. Well, we kept waiting, and it kept not arriving. So we called the bank and we said, what's going on? It was at that point that I heard, oops, there would be no $5,000 coming, which we already have no income coming on, and we're going to build a business. Most of the time, people suggest if you're going to build a business, you have some kind of a foundation to build on. We had none. There was none. So that pushed us into bankruptcy. So we're starting a business not only broke, but we're starting a business in bankruptcy. I had at that point a Ford C-Max electric vehicle, a real nice car. That isn't one thing that we had been able to hold on to and keep. Very nice car. Never had any problem with it. I drove it into the parking lot of the uh, lawyer doing the bankruptcy, and I prayed. And I said, Lord, if this car is to be part of that bankruptcy, please show me. Immediately, the car stopped working. I'm sitting in the middle of the parking lot. I'm not in a parking space. Immediately, the car stops working. I cannot get it started. My wife's sitting there watching this whole thing. I cannot get the car started. And said, okay, Lord, that's a pretty good sign, but I need to park in a parking space. So since I can't turn this car on, would you please turn this car on so I can park? Push the button, and it started up immediately. We went and parked and took care of business. Took the car to the Ford dealer. I had a friend that said, I've got a car, very loose term for car,
Hmm.
but I've got a car that might be able to help you out. Well, this car was anything like our it was not like our Ford C-Max at all. The front window was shattered in multiple places. The door handles and doors were falling apart. The ceiling stuff on whatnot was tearing off and ripping and everything so that it would come down and flake in our hair. Well, I'm somewhat bald, so that's not an issue. My wife's not bald. Yeah, exactly. And we drove that car for the better part of a year and a half. We had a friend that called up at one point and said, I've got a car that I think you need to take a look at. I turned him down on many, many different cars, and I was about to turn this one down, but the miles were good, the price was good. We went and took a look. We decided to buy that car, and 1 week later, our miracle car broke down. It would not start, even for trained mechanics. It would not start. So that's all playing a part in this as well. Um, we're working now at the Fountain of Youth water store at this point. Do you have any questions at this point before I continue?
No, not really. I'm just listening.
Okay. So then the next piece is that we are told by the Fountain of Youth water store that they want to retire and they want us to take over their store, which would be fine if we felt called to take over their store, and we didn't. So we asked them for 30 days where we could pray about it and whatnot, and they agreed. One Now, when my wife first got going, she went around to all the businesses, all the chiropractors, physical therapists, body workers, giving out business cards because then we would get clients from them.
Yeah.
Guess how many clients we got? You got the
None.
number right. Zero. We didn't get any clients at all. But 1 week after the announcement that they wanted to retire, we had a chiropractor call us because of those business cards.
That's good.
And their statement was, "We are looking for a massage therapist." To which I said, "I'm sorry, we can't help you." And they said, "Wait, what? Why?" Well, I said, "Because you're looking for a massage therapist. My wife and I are both massage therapists. You'd have to be looking for two, not one." And she said, "Well, we have 2 rooms." And I said, "Well, then we have a conversation." We got together and had a conversation and decided we would work together. All they needed to do was us to draw up an email of all the details that we would need, send it to them, and they would respond accordingly. We did exactly that. They did exactly that. And 100% across the board, their answer was no. Well, we're not going to go to the chiropractic clinic either. So we decided, well, we'll open up our own clinic.
But how are you going to do that with no money?
Well, by now we've got some clientele going. We've started building. This is about 2 years in, so we've started building a foundation. But it's
Okay.
still the money is still a very tight situation.
Yeah.
Um, we find a place that we decide we want to rent, and the landlord said, "Draw up an email of everything you need to move in." Heard this before,
Yeah.
and we'll just roll it into the rent. We did that. He responded, and his response was, "I
No.
was talking basic."
Oh.
So that was another no. So I turned to the Lord at this point and I say, look, you brought us into a field that I would never do, or I would never choose to do. You brought us into a location, South Dakota, that I would never think to live. We need a place to practice.
Yeah.
Please fix it. His response was send the exact same email that you sent last week to the chiropractor. Here's where I just, knew I needed help got out. I said the likelihood that they are going to approve 1 week later what they didn't approve 100% across the board just last week is like impossible. He said send the email. I sent the email. We got a response back. 100% across the board. The answer was now yes. We would be moving, exactly, right?
Yeah.
We'd be moving in with the chiropractor.
That's cool.
And so, that's just a lot. One thing after another is that's the way it has worked for our process with Graceful Touch.
Yeah, and that shows right there that the power of persistence is true, because you kept you kept going for this thing in one way, and if it didn't work this way, you went and adjusted it a little bit. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about life, that you sometimes have to pivot. You
Yep.
don't have to change direction entirely, but sometimes you have to pivot. You have to just make that small adjustment in order to be successful. So, Guy, I know you said that you have a successful business now, but do you have any tips for other people that are looking to do something similar?
If you have a dream and you have a desire to accomplish something, pursue that dream. Like what you were saying, Jeff, it's easier to steer a moving vessel than it is one that's in dry dock.
Yeah.
It's easier to steer someone who is motivatedly moving forward than it is someone that's just sitting and not doing anything.
Yeah. That's so true. It's much easier to get a car rolling when it is in neutral. But
They're
when it's in park, you're probably not going to move it.
not very well. Not very
Well,
well.
yeah, it would require some extreme effort.
Yep, exactly.
So, do you have any other tips to help people say they need to develop that persistence that you have? Because you obviously have persistence.
So I would say, and yes, looking back, there is persistence. I agree, but I can't say during the process I didn't have my knees shaking at times. That there were not moments where it was very stressful, because it was. But the more that I continued to just move forward despite my feelings, the more that I found success. That doesn't mean every business, especially those that are moving forward without any back support, is going to succeed. So prayerfully consider your options and seriously decide which ones are going to work best for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. How would you suggest that somebody can figure out which things are going to work for them?
It took me 50 years.
Well, some people don't have that.
Right, I get you. But if I would have known at 19 what I found out 50 plus, I would have made totally different decisions. I don't the best way that I could say on that is move according to the paths that are open, but give yourself grace for adjusting the process if it is needed. Allow yourself for grace.
That's great advice, and I definitely appreciate that advice. I know that other people out there can use that advice, and that's what I want this show to be. I want this show to be here to help people. I say that it's a solution oriented program, and that's what you have provided, solutions. So I thank you so much, Guy. But do you have any contact information you would like to give out?
Sure. So, number one, the type of massage that we do is actually quite a bit different. And I know this show's not about that, but we're actually putting together a self training course on how to do what we do, which has
Wow.
received almost 500 five-star reviews in less than 5 years. You can find that at stopyourpain.club. Now, I'm still in the process of bringing the training out, so we're hoping to launch within about 2 weeks. But if you write that down and keep it handy, that's what's coming. Now,
And
what you can
can you
also
repeat that one more time?
stop.
Stopthepain.com.
Nope. Stopyourpain.club.
All right, stopyourpain.club. All
Now,
right.
if you are out on the socials, my most favorite social is Instagram, where you can find me as Pain Relief, the number 4, the letter U.
Yeah, I see that on the screen here. You have that in your uh banner or whatever underneath your name.
Hmm.
Pain relief for you on
And
Inst-
there are more URLs and more links, but as you get to know who we are and who my wife and I are and whatnot, those links will come as part of your experience. But those are the real two things I would like to make sure you really laser target is stopyourpain.club and on Instagram, pain relief, the number 4, the letter U.
where is stopyourpain.club? I don't
That's a
really.
website.
Oh, it is. All
Yeah.
right.
Right now it's a website that is in pre-launch.
Yeah.
So if you go to that website, you're going to say coming. It's going to say coming soon, and so it's a two. We're going to be launching hopefully in about 2 weeks.
All right. Well, thank you. And we'll definitely look up pain relief for you, the number 4, the letter U on Instagram. So, again, that is pain relief for you on Instagram. So, definitely go check him out, see what he's up to, support this man in some way. So I thank you guys all for watching. I need you, Guy, and everybody out there to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why, you might ask? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey
That's right.
guys, have a great night, Guy. Thank you so much again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right.